This is an Algebra 1 Regent question from the June 2014 Regents. It's a long answers question. Question tells us, factor the expression x to the fourth plus 6x squared minus 7. Normally when we have questions, factoring questions, they're in the form ax squared plus bx plus c, where our highest exponent is a 2. This question, however, is different. Our highest exponent is a 4. But that's not such a big deal. Normally when we factor, we end up with two terms. The first term of the first factor is x, and the first term of the second factor is also x. That's when we have our highest exponent being a 2. So when we have our highest exponent being a 4, we're going to do a similar thing to when we have the highest exponent being a 2. But instead of having our the first terms of each factor being x, they're going to be x squared. Both of them. Whenever you have a question that you need a factor, and the highest exponent is not an x squared, it's some other even number, like x to the fourth, x to the sixth, just divide it by 2. So let's say you would have x to the sixth, that would be x to the third plus or minus something, and x to the third plus or minus something. If your highest term would be x to the 12th, your factors would be x to the 6th plus or minus something, and x to the 6th plus or minus something. So for this question, we have x squared plus or minus something, and x squared plus or minus something. Since there's no GCF, we can't do difference of two perfect squares, we're going to try to do reverse FOIL. We can try reverse FOIL because the coefficient of our term with the highest exponent, x to the fourth, is 1. So reverse FOIL will probably work. To do reverse FOIL, we need to find factors of the c term, which is negative 7, that add up to the b term, which is positive 6. Factors of negative 7 are positive 1 and negative 7, negative 1 and positive 7. That's it. Which one of these adds up to positive 6, negative 1, and positive 7? So we're just going to plug in those two terms. X squared minus 1, x squared plus 7. Are we finished? Now you might just circle this answer, x squared minus 1 times x squared plus 7, but you're really not finished. You have to notice now, you already did GCF. Are you able to do anything else? And you are. You can use the difference of two perfect squares to further simplify this first term, x squared minus 1. X squared minus 1 is the difference of two perfect squares because x squared is a perfect square, 1 is a perfect square, and they're separated by a minus sign. So we're going to use the difference of two perfect squares. We take the square root of the first term, which is x, the square root of the second term, which is 1. So we do plus the square root of the second term. Then we do the square root of the first term, which is x, minus the square root of the second term, which is 1. And we don't want to forget about the x squared plus 7. And this will be our answer because there's no more GCF. We already did reverse FOIL. We already did difference of two perfect squares, and this is our answer.